Welcome back to FTNS, world's first fitness radio. Enjoy the show.
Okay, welcome back, everyone, to Boomers Rock on FTNS, where fitness comes to life. I'm your host, Tom Matt. You can always feel free to contact myself or Sandy directly. Our email is tom@ftns.co. We love hearing from you. I will respond to your email. I like the stories. You don't have to come on the show. I'll just share your name, and if you don't want me to, I won't, but I would love to do that for you. We have a first-timer in, a pinch hitter sort of, kind of, and I think this can be kind of an interesting story because John Schwartz is Drew Perlman's uncle, and you know Drew has been on the show and many times and talked about his movie, and he thought it would be a good fit, and so we made the call. John had the time, so I want to welcome to Boomers Rock, Mr. John Schwartz. John, how are you?
Good, Tom. I appreciate you calling.
Hey, no problem, man. And I'd like to give you a few minutes, like I told you on our pre-call, just a couple of minutes to share who you are, what you do, and then we'll go into some specific questions about how we can help boomers reach that quality of life that we're all trying to achieve. So go ahead and share who you are, and your background, all that kind of good stuff, my man.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. Tom, I've been in this industry for about 12 years, a personal trainer. I'm doing this myself at this point here. Started 10 to 12 years ago, involved in the YMCAs in the Rochester, upstate New York area. Have always been involved with fitness. Have coached youth sports in the past. And then went from the Y's into Bailey Total Fitness, worked for both personal trainer and also as a fitness manager in the upstate area. Have been doing this myself for about a year and a half now. Have worked with youth sports. I currently not only doing personal training for middle-aged, elderly, and also for the young, for youth training, but I also work for one of the high schools here in Rochester as a part-timer, and I do their crew team. I work as their sports and strength trainer during the springtime, so 9th through 12th grade. I'm continually working with them for about 3 or 4 months to build them up and work with them on body weight strength. And have been doing this for a while. Love what I do, and just love motivating people and getting them to their goals.
That's exactly where we're going with this one. First off, I want to say congratulations on everything you've done. I know you did well in your competition recently. You didn't really touch on your bodybuilding, but that's right, because I think you're a humble guy and you want to just kind of keep that down. As I told you, I've done my one, dip my toe in the pond of bodybuilding, and I can appreciate how very, very tough it is to do a show, get prepared for it, and get ready. Talk about that a little bit as a mid-50-year-old man who's, you've been a trainer for 12 years now and a year and a half on your own. I've got several questions I want to hit you. But first, let's talk about the bodybuilding aspect of your life. How much does that really help you stay focused towards your training? And would you encourage others at our age to perhaps think about it?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, the focus is if I can make myself the best that I can be, I can teach others. I can show it, I can prove it, and I can do it. So I always not only study and do all the certifications, everything that's required, but I like to also participate. And again, as far as I'm concerned, bodybuilding in the type of work that we do is top of the line. You can't go any further. So it was probably about 8-9 years ago. Again, I was, years and years ago, was a little bit heavier, around 250, 260. I'm now about 206, 207. Anyways, I went through my stages where I says, you know what, I'm sick of lifting heavy. I feel like I'm out of shape and wanted to, since I was beginning to do this, I wanted to see, what it would be like to go through to be in the top shape. So I started competing, lost a lot of weight, figured out how I do this, went through all different trainings. So I competed, 2005 was my first competition, was a novice bodybuilding, did okay, decided to come back again, and won my division or my class. Then still competed in that area for 2-3 years, took a little time off, And then recently I decided to come back again and just train as hard as I could. So I went into the Men's Master 50, competed. The last two events I did, I won my division, both in Rochester and Buffalo, against other competitors. And so you're talking about trying to keep as much lean muscle and get as low as body fat so it's food is related. Also working out and just making sure you're doing everything the healthiest and the most intense you can do that. And so that's what I did, and that's what I preach. And again, it helps me in my profession, because not only, do I work with people trying to do that, but also motivating people, in our age group, what are the things we have to do to be healthy? What do proper eating, proper cardiovascular, and also proper lifting, which makes everybody healthier.
John, I've got to ask you, because there's a lot of crazy fads that come and go all the time, and you said motivation about 3 times now, and I really, really like that, because I'm a motivator. That's what I like to do. That's why I like to do the talk show, and I found that doing the one-on-one personal training for me is not really what I want to do. I want to become educated, and I still work with one client, but that's all I have time for. I want to keep that training up, but I want to learn more about the motivation and to do the multimedia kind of stuff like this and share the message. When you're out there and you're trying to motivate people, what are the couple of quick tips that you would give to a person that is, say they're sedentary, say they haven't been in the gym, say they're a little freaked out by the whole thought process? How would you get that person to kind of turn their mindset around just a little bit? Just take that baby step and get them kind of started on that motivational track to getting in shape. How would you do that?
Right. Well, the first thing is to, understand they need to know what I've done. They interview me, I interview them just as much. And I guess the number one thing is finding out what their underlying motivation is and what their support systems are. Those two things have to be in check. So underlying motivation, we've got to create some type of a goal. And that could be, they might have high blood pressure, they might have type 2 diabetes, there might be something going on that we've got to get them just for safety reasons. Once we find that out, then we got to take the next step. We've got to find out what their support system is. Are they married? Are they single? Do they have support at home? What type of things do we have to do to create the best situation? Do we have to meet with somebody else to make sure that they get the support so they're successful in what they do? Because you need help as you go along. Once we find out those type of goals and what they're looking to do, then we try and get them in a one-on-one situation, and we try and create fun. It's got to be fun. We got to make them motivated and feel like this is not work, because they fail right off the bat. They need to feel safe. They need to know what they're doing. They need to feel it, and they need to feel good about it. And then we need progress quickly to show them, and that's both food-related and the way to work with them so that they can feel that they don't always have to be at a gym. They can do this at home. They can do it through just body weight type work, real simple things to keep them going. And then the next questions are probably, what type of food, what type of time do they have, and then finding out what their limitations are. And then putting this all together and getting them to try once and then get things in a line so they feel, they can walk away feeling a little bit more encouraged about themselves, feeling like this is not so hard, I can do it, and seeing some type of progress, we got them.
Well, see, that's the whole thing, and I like that. Your energy is off the charts, and I like that a lot. For you walk the walk, and here's the deal that when I first got out of college, because I was a late bloomer in school and so forth and so on, that's why I like to share that you can make these changes in your life, be it on the academic side, be it on the physical side. But I hired a trainer for my wife, and I looked at these trainers. This is before I was certified several years ago, and these trainers were out of shape. And I'm thinking, why am I spending good money on a trainer when this trainer's not in shape? I don't understand that. Don't you feel the same way about it? I mean, what's the point, right?
Absolutely. When I look at somebody, the reason why I go to them is because I like how they look. I says, God, this person I like, whatever the, whether it's their personality and their look, and say, well, if they can do it, that's what I want to look like. So I always go to what I see and what I like and what looks appealing to me. that's where I go because I know they can do it.
That's it, exactly. Okay, let's talk about a little bit more. When you said, I have what's called your compelling why. What is your compelling why to do anything in life? You have your what plus your support equals the goal. I like that tremendously, but I want to shift gears a little bit here because I always try to weave in, and Joanne Lemma's coming up after you, and we're going to talk some financial stuff, and I want to kind of weave this financial thought process in for boomers. You've been doing this for 12 years, but you said the last year and a half you've been on your own. What is your opinion for baby boomers that, because we're all into this, what I call the retirement zone, John, where retirement's out the window. We're all going to be wind up working. Let's do something that we like to do, enter into the retirement zone, and ignite your life. So if you were to kind of give some advice to people on the business side of things, of perhaps looking for a certification or becoming, a physical therapist or perhaps a trainer, give some tips to people. And what is your feel on that? What is your takeaway and your passion towards the personal training industry, and what could people do perhaps if they never really thought about the business side of things?
Right. Well, the business side is, you need to find, there's got to be a reason for what you do. There's got to be progression, and then there has to be an end goal for what's happening here. The people that you want to work with, you want to help them any which way. Okay, safety is huge, being in control, feeling that they can reach a goal and do it, explaining to them step by step what needs to be done. There's a tremendous support system there. It's very personal. It's something that can change the life of somebody, whether it's just for them to feel good enough to go out in public, whether it's them to change because under doctor's orders they've got issues and they want to have a better quality of life. There's so many things that you can help, and it's just, working day by day, but it's showing them that, if this is something you're interested in doing, there's a tremendous possibility for a lot of people that have, the certifications, that have the outlook, that have the get up and go to make people better. And it's just, progression every single day. So on the business side of it, there's a lot of opportunity there.
There is. There's a lot of opportunity out there, and I think that people may discount the whole thing. Well, I could never do that. I'm not in very good shape. Well, here's my takeaway with it, John. It incentivizes me to want to stay in shape, because once you get into that mode, it's like it is the drug, it is the endorphin, it is because I've had alcohol issues and I've had drug issues in the past, and you know what? I've never felt better in my life at 53 years old than I do now, and it really comes down to the nutritional side of things, the physical fitness, the sleep, all of it fits. It all works really well. So people that want to get out there, it really incentivizes you to want to stay in shape. Let's talk about nutrition a little bit. Share some of your tips with eating correctly. What are the timing issues that people should be thinking about? Give us some of the things that you do with when you're not training for a show, but when you're just in your regular everyday life of being a baby boomer.
Right. Well, there's a lot of things that when I sit down and talk with somebody, the first thing we talk about is, what are you doing? What's happening right now in your lifestyle? There's stress, there's inactivity, and there's, because of stress, eating all different times of the day, eating at night, high carbohydrates, high sugar, there's cravings, all these things, are comfort levels for people going through a lot of different situations. So we always talk about food. Once we talk about and see what they're doing so that I can understand, because we count carbohydrates, we count proteins, we count sugars and fats all in grams, so we know what somebody is intaking on a daily basis, which comes up to total calories. Once we know that, and hydration, then we can figure out a lot of other things like resting metabolic rate. We can figure out what type of cardio they're doing. We can all put this out in a formula as to what they should be doing. But just basically, we're looking at smaller meals during the course of the day, 5 or 4 meals a day, a nice breakfast first thing in the morning, a few snacks, midday and afternoon. lunch, and then dinner. And then if we feed them, and if they feel that they're full at each meal, they don't have to snack. They don't have cravings. So a lot of times people need to eat maybe a little bit more, but maybe a little bit better type food. And once they do that and they understand, they can still have what we sometimes call a pleasure meal or a cheat meal, and know that they can still get right back on board as long as they're on some type of a plan. And there's all different types. So it's not, a real basic where they have to eat, the same thing every day. We can change things so that they begin to understand their body. Once they understand, then you can live a whole different lifestyle.
That's exactly right, because it's all about education. It's all about getting a grip on understanding what is coming in that box or that package. I tell everyone the simplest thing you can think about, John, I know you're going to agree with this, is if it grows, if it comes out of the ground, if it comes off a tree, you can eat it. I mean, and you can eat as much of that as you want. I've interviewed many doctors about this. We've talked about this. If it comes in a box, if it's manufactured in a factory, then you should probably read the label and maybe limit your intake of that type of food, right?
Correct. Absolutely.
What's your feel with sugar and high fructose corn syrup and all of the sodas that are out there?
Yeah, well, the high, when you're talking about sugar, when you're talking about high carbohydrates, and in a lot of cases, the bad fats, you're looking, and then you add a little bit of inactive lifestyle to it, and you're looking at, that's where they call visceral fat, which is the fat around the abdominal area, and that, surrounds the internal organs. That's where everybody sees it the most. And that's where, sedentary people, that's where we have, majority of the problems. So that's the start. And it's, it's hard to lose that area there. But there's, with cardiovascular, with, a cleaner, leaner diet, I hate to say diet, but food plan, you're looking at, you can change very quickly.
You say we are cut from the same cloth, my man, because I'll tell you, I do the same thing. I will refer to diet, but it's all about it. I call it eating plans, and when you go with that, it all works. We're up against the clock here, John. How do people get a hold of you if they need to get some tips? What is your email that people could go to perhaps get a hold of you and maybe get some tips from John Schwartz in the upstate New York area?
Absolutely. Well, my website is betterbodiesbyjohn.com. And then also I'm on Facebook, so you can always reach me, John Schwartz, on Facebook, and you just look under personal trainer. And then my email is john44@frontiernet.net.
I will put those up on the, I'm going to hit you on Facebook, too, and I'm going to put those things up. I didn't have we ran short on time, so I would have had the bio, and I would have put that on the FTNS site. I will make sure that gets done. We've been visiting with John Schwartz. John came in at the last minute. He pinched hit for us and you smacked it, baby. You did a great job. I want to call you after the show, if that's okay, and do a follow-up with you and talk to you a little bit more, if that's okay.
Absolutely. I'd love to, and I appreciate the time, Tom.
Okay, John. Very good. All right, we're going to go to break, everybody. You're listening to Boomers Rock on FTNS, where fitness comes to life. Please share your thoughts on today's show in the comment section of your audio player or on your screen on your computer. Phone number 650-ASK-FTNS at 650-275-3867. We'll be right back after this short commercial break. Thank you for listening.
It's time for a fitness break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back on FTNS.